In this video, I'll be showing you how to create property lines and building pads. So what exactly is a property line? So let's go to our Revit model and go to your site, the new excavation works basically, so your new topography. Property line under massing, if you go under modify site, property line basically defines your the boundary for the land on which you want to build your building. So you've got two options. You can create the property lines by entering distances and bearings. This is something that architects deal a lot with. So in order to satisfy, say, the building code of Australia, there's specific regulations that highlight the distances. So how much you should leave between your house and the property line and so forth. But what we are going to be looking at is property lines created by sketching. So choose that option and let's just sketch our property lines. Let's say maybe something which is sort of like that. And once we're done, click on the tick and you see if we select that in the properties panel, it shows that this is the property line. So this is the area where we will be placing our building on. The next step is to create the building pad. So the building pad, it's actually it's a closed loop that prevents any soil from sort of entering into the region where you're going to be building your site on. So again, click on it and let's create this rectangular shape. So maybe something like that. We can rotate that. I'll show you how to rotate that, but say we create something which is so that's 10 meters, maybe 12 by 15, and then click before you click the tick. Notice how this is the level which the building pad is associated with. The height offset is set as 0. Okay, so now click finish and you see we created this building pad. To rotate that, use this button and then just sort of rotate it so that you can fit it into that that property. The other thing is that we want to move it as well. So in order to select it, as you can see we can't select it, and the reason for that is I'll show you, but first we want to increase that a bit, so maybe just like that. So increase the property lines. That should be sufficient. So I'll show you why we can't click on our building pad. And the reason is that the topography. So if we go to the elevation, again let's set this to shaded and set that to fine, and maybe look at the realistic, the wireframe. So we notice that the pad, which is that one, is way below the topography, right? So one way of dealing with that is just to sort of increase the offset. Just basically use the up arrow key on your keyboard and maybe try to place it at at this level, just so that it's above your topography. So this is your topography. Maybe bring it down a bit. Okay, that should be, or maybe bring it down even a bit more. So if we go to our site, so this is the pad, we should now be able to move it. And if we have a look at it in 3D, you can see how it's sort of, you know, it's a bit too high actually, so we might as well bring it down a bit. So again, maybe you can go to wireframe just to have a better look. And then make sure it's selected, so select your pad, and then bring it down a bit using the down arrow key on your keyboard, so maybe to that level. Yeah. So change that to shaded. You can see the idea behind that is that you want to sort of integrate that pad with your topography. So probably need to bring it down a bit more. Let's see how it looks like now. So it looks better. So bring it down a bit. Okay, so now it looks perfect. So this is where your building will basically go.